We're going to look at how to fade an object inside Flash. It's a relatively simple process, so I want you to make a new Flash file, just leave it as a standard settings for the moment, and you'll go to insert a new symbol. I'm going to make a ball that will fade, and I'll just leave it as a graphic and go OK. I'm going to draw my ball using my oval tool. Inside the ball, though, what I'm going to do is do a what's called a radial gradient. You can set those to different colors or whatever you choose. I might make a blue ball or something like that, and perhaps a white on the outside, but you could make it red, doesn't matter. And then just simply hold my shift key down and draw my ball. Now, one of the things that you'll notice is it places the white section right in the center, and you might think, well, how do I actually change that? Well, if I grab hold of my if I click on my object and I grab hold of down here under the third button down is what's called, there's normally a free transform tool, but underneath that is a thing called the gradient transform tool. If I click on that and select that, you'll notice that my object has a range of these other tools available to it. There's some rotation tools, you can rotate that gradient or whatever. I'll go back there again. But the one I'm interested in is this one here, which is moving the center gradient. If I hover over it, you can see that I get a small downward arrow triangle. When I click on that and drag it to the right or left, it moves the point, the center. You can actually drag that in and out and get different types of effects, making it look a bit more elliptical, and so forth. But I've changed the structure of my ball somewhat, so I'm quite happy about that. So I'm going to go back to my scene, and I've now got my ball inside my library. I'm going to drag it onto my stage. There's a number of things I can do at this point, but for the moment I'll go back to my selection tool. I'm just going to put it there and go to, say, slide 40, or sorry, frame 40, hit F6, and if we were to do a normal motion tween, we would just drag our ball to a new spot and create a classic tween or a motion tween. For the moment, though, I'm just going to leave it there and do a right click, and I'm going to create a classic tween, so it's in that spot and that spot. Now let's see what happens here. Now to change my tween, I go to click somewhere inside my tween and go to properties, and I have some choices. I've got some easing and some oriented paths and that sort of stuff, but I can't see anywhere where I can fade it. Well, the difference is that fade works on the first and last keyframes. If I click back on the first keyframe and then click on my object again, you see I have some different choices. Now what I'm interested in is this thing here called the color effect, and from there, the drop down boxes, I've got the brightness, the tint, the advanced. We can change the different levels of the alpha, beta, alpha, green, red, blue, and the last one, alpha. And alpha is the one that lets it's the translucence or the transparency. I'm going to leave it at 100% at this point. Go to my last frame, 40, click back on my object, choose my alpha again, and take it down to 0. And you can see it's disappeared, it's faded. Let's test that. Control Enter. The ball fades. Now if I did want to, I could put my ball over here and have my let's see if that works. So the ball does move. The other thing I could do is inside my tween I could give it a rotate. I could make it rotate. Let's see, I want to go to the right. I could make it rotate clockwise once. Let's see if that works. I get that rolling effect because I've moved that shining point on the ball. Now that could be spokes or whatever. Really, it's not particularly realistic because it is a shining light section, but it gives you the impression of the ball rolling, and that's what I was after, and also disappearing. So that's how to make an object fade, and also do a number of other things within that same tween.